devastating, things coming to an end.
Sometimes it's more devastating, things beginning. You've never told me why they call you Tony when your name's James.
That is why. You haven't said a word about yourself, Claire.
I don't like people who discuss their private lives.
No, but I know you're not happy. That Corbin...
Sorry. You realize, of course, that I love you.
Yes.
But you don't love me.
I'm a respectable married woman, Tony.
That's coming back to England because...
Because of the climate in Ceylon.
I can't bear the thought of not seeing you every day. Couldn't you stay in London just for a night?
For dinner in a theatre.
My dear Tony, I shall be met by loving relatives and taken home.
Well, I must see you sometime. This club will always find me.
The coffee house? Oh, my uncle's a member, Sir Lawrence Mont. Tall and twisty and thin with an eyeglass.
I'll look out for him.
What are you going to do with yourself in England, Tony?
Oh, look for a job. Anything except selling things on commission.
Does anybody do anything else nowadays?
I'd like something to do with horses.
Oh, horses are dying out.
Yes, I know. I expect I shall have to be a chauffeur. Where are you going to stay, Claire?
I shall be at home for a time. Conderford Grange, Oxfordshire will find me. Then I'll have to look for a job, too. Hello, Dinny! That's my sister. I must go now, Tony.
Claire, has this meant anything to you?
Yes, it has. And if it never means anything more, thank you for helping me over a bad 3 weeks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Fine, except for the bay. Where are you taking me?
To London first for lunch with David Dawnford and then home. Where are your trunks?
Oh, I booked them straight through.
Oh, come along then. The car's outside.
Glad to see you, my lady.
Well, darling, it's grand to see you. Am I wrong to read between the lines?
No, I'm not going back to him, Dinny.
Never known?
Never known.
Poor darling.
I don't want to talk about it. It just became impossible. Quite impossible.
Who was the boy on the boat?
Oh, Tony Croom. He was on a tea plantation in Ceylon. They closed down. He's come home to look for a job. I'll need a job too, Dinny. Is there any money in hats?
All British hats? I'm afraid not.
I might try breeding dogs, bull terriers.
You can help in the big election in Conderford first. We're all working like mad down there. David Dawnford's our national candidate. We must get him in. A national government's our only hope, Claire.
I'd love to help. Anything to forget.
Was there another woman?
I don't think so. He may follow me home. I shan't see him if he does.
Bonjour, madame. Bonjour, madame.
Hello, David.
Hello,
You
Lily.
met my sister Claire.
Yes, for a moment at the wedding, Lady Corbin. You remember?
Yes, I remember.
Let's go through. Lady Corbin, you go ahead. We'll fix this.
Very good, sir.
Cocktails?
This is rather a nice restaurant. I don't think I've been here before.
Hello, darling. How nice to see you. I had no idea you were home.
Oh, I just got back, Vi. How's everything?
Splendid. Joan's had a baby.
Really? How sweet.
Do come and see us. We're still in the Chelsea house, you know, and the baby's lovely.
I'll ring you.
Do, dear.
Will you have a cocktail, Lady Colvin?
No, sherry for me, I think.
You, Denny?
Same for me.
3 sherry. Wait a minute. Light or dark?
Hello, Claire. I'd no idea you were home. Is Joel back too?
No, I came alone, Tommy. The climate just wiped me out.
Oh, that's rotten. Are you home for good?
Well, unless they can alter the climate.
I'll ring you up. There we'll be thrilled.
Light or dark?
I'm terribly sorry. Light for me. And me.
Light. Now then, how about some hors d'oeuvre or smoked salmon?
Claire, darling, you never told me you were back. How are you, my dear? Oh, why didn't you tell me you were coming? I would have come down to Tilbury to meet you.
Wonderful chap, that cloakroom attendant. Never gives you a ticket for your hat. Remembers every guest. Never been known to make a mistake. You watch. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I feel terribly out of things with papers 4 weeks late and nothing but wireless news. Things aren't really as bad as they look, are they? I mean, this crisis.
I think it's going to be touch and go for a long time.
Didn't we come off the gold standard or something while I was on the way home? What is the gold standard exactly?
It's what you want to be on when you're off and to be off when you're on.
I see.
You see, our exports and interest from investments abroad do not pay for our imports. That means...
Oh, keep it, David. You've got to speak tomorrow night. Don't waste it on Claire. Look here, train's at 3. Huh? Claire, are you sure you don't want to tell me a little more about things?
Better not even you.
Why? Was it as bad as that?
Worse. He was more brutal than I can tell you.
Claire, in your last letter, you told me that Colin beat you, struck you across the face with the handle of his riding crop and kicked you. Is that true?
Yes. So you can see why I don't intend to talk about my reasons for coming away.
You must get free.
But how? It's my word against his. You see, my husband's attentions were without witnesses. Besides, how could I make a public show of that sort of thing? I couldn't. A plain divorce causes enough attention. This would be meat for a 9 days wonder. I can't even speak of it to anyone but you. It'll be nice to be home on a day like this. Grass is really lovely stuff. And the elms. And that blue look.
Here you are, George.
Hello, Tolga.
Good evening, milady.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, lady. Glad to see you back.
Thank you.
Welcome home, my lady.
Good evening, Mary. Hello, Scaramouche. And this one's new.
Yes, Bosch.
Oh, isn't he a beauty?
Good evening, lady.
Hello, Henry. Oh, where is everybody? I expect Mother's in the drawing room.
Here she is, Mother.
Well, darling, here's your bad penny turned up again. You look just the same, bless you.
Dad's in his study.
Well, Dinny, how is she?
She's all right, dear. But it is a split. Complete, I'm afraid. Oh, it's not her fault. But I wouldn't ask her any questions.
Well, what's the fellow been doing?
Just his nature. I knew there was a streak of cruelty in him.
What do you mean? You knew.
The way he smiled, I suppose. His lips.
I want to see her. Ah, Claire, my dear. Let me look at you. Ah, it doesn't seem long since you left.
Spring last year. 17 months, that's all. I'm afraid I'm a bit late for the garden.
Well, there are a few good roses out still. We didn't have much of a show in the earlier part of the year, you know. Too dry. Too dry. I enjoyed those photographs you sent, my dear. It's always interesting to see how places alter. I remember there was a part of Colombo they used to call the Fort. Do they still call it that?
The fort? Yes, Dad.
And the bazaar's still there, I suppose.
Yes, the bazaar's still there.
Does it still smell?
Yes, it still smells.
That's when I got my typhoid. Oh, have you had your tea?
No.
It's ready now. It's getting cold.
Let's have it. Shall we? Good to have you back here.
What should I do with these tendrils, Denny? They're an awful plague. Should I cut them again?
I think I should let them grow for the time being. You can't tell what's coming. It might be ringlets.
Oh, how awful. Do you think women get themselves up to please men?
Certainly not.
To excite and annoy each other, then?
Fashion, mostly. Women are sheep about appearances.
What about morals?
Have we any? Man-made, anyway. By nature, we've only got feelings.
I've none now.
Sure.
Well, in hand, anyway. There's something sane and fresh about this air. Fresh and homespun.
Can you never rest and be still?
It was all new out there. Rather exciting, tantalizing, unsatisfying. But there was no rest. And now it's over and done with.
Aunt Em, I'm so glad you've come.
You know perfectly well you're not.
Oh, you got everybody to vote last year?
Yes, but who for? I saw them. Where's Claire?
Inside.
Ah, here's it.
Hello,
Hi,
George. My dear. Claire, down.
I'm so glad you're helping us, Lady Mott. We're giving you and dinner in the village while we go out to the farms.
I'm quite willing to shout at the deaf, shake hands with the dirty, but I cannot to the dumb.
Well, cheerio. Goodbye, Ginny.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Claire looks rather yellow. It isn't a baby, is it?
No, dear.
When I was in Ceylon, everyone was having babies. Even the elephants had them, and that takes 9 years, you know. Did Claire like Ceylon?
Not much.
Why not? Liver. She's very yellow, you know.
No, it wasn't liver, and she's not yellow. It's her husband.
Oh, his liver, then.
Auntie, you won't say anything except to Uncle Lawrence if I tell you. There's been a split.
I thought he looked liverish at the wedding. Anyway, there's too much difference in their ages.
He seems to be quite a cad.
Poor dear Claire. Has she a young man?
Oh, no.
Not on board ship. Oh, I planted that tree when I was 5. I would like to be buried under it, but I know they won't. They're sure to do something stuffy. Oh, look. I've often thought I'd like to be a goat.
Not in England. Tied to a stake and grazing in a mangy little circle.
Oh, no. One with a bell on a mountain. A he-goat for preference, so as not to be milked.
Hello, Benji. I've come to make you vote.
I'm no voting anymore, miss.
Of course you are.
No.
Everybody's got to vote this time, Benji.
See here, miss. See that picture, miss? That's Mr. Gladstone.
Fine-looking old man, wasn't he?
Aye. He's dead, though. No use voting any longer.
Oh, but Benji, he's been dead for years and years.
Aye, that's the trouble.
I'll take you in the car, Benji.
All by myself, miss? In the motor car?
And Mrs. Purdy.
Ah, she's ailing, miss. I'd like you to see her. Here's someone to see you, Mother.
Why, it's Miss Claire.
I'm home again, Mrs. Purdy, and come to make Benji vote.
Benji won't vote any longer, not since Mr. Gladstone died.
I'll come for the motor car drive, miss. I won't say as I'll vote.
Shh. Won't you take a cup of tea, Miss Claire?
Oh, not now, Mrs. Purdy. I have to go all round. I'll come in when the election's over.
You will, and you'll stay for a cup of tea?
I certainly will. I'll see you tomorrow morning when I call for Benji.
Good day.
Hello, Claire.
What on earth are you doing here, Tony?
I couldn't go on any longer without a glimpse of you.
You weren't going to call, were you?
If I couldn't see you any other way. Claire, if I don't see you now and then, I shall go batty. Oh, just once, Claire.
Quick, then. No, Tony. If you're going to see me, it's got to be in town. But what's the good of seeing me? That'll only make us unhappy.
Us? Oh, bless you for that, Claire.
You got a job?
There aren't any.
Things will be better when the election's over. Now, Tony, you must go.
You promise to let me know the first day you come up to town.
Do you realize what the last government has done? By indecision, bungling, and lack of courage, they've lowered our whole prestige in the eyes of the world.
Isn't that what Gladstone said in '98?
Oh, shut up, Em. Do you realize that today this pound note is only worth 14 shillings?
I'll give you 14 shillings for it, Governor.
First results ought to be coming through soon. What awful stuff they do play nowadays. Do they have that noise every night?
This is the first election result. Hornsey South. Major Drummond, Conservative, 29,743. Joseph Hill, Labour, 7,929. Conservative majority, 21,813.
By Jove! What a thumping majority.
That's no triumph. Horns is always conservative. Can't you get rid of that awful whistling noise, Claire?
No, leave it alone, for heaven's sake. You'll lose it if you're not careful.
It always makes that noise.
Lawrence does something to ours with a penknife.
David's in. Terrific majority. He's just telephoned me. Northwood, 12,324. Perkins, 4,561.
Fancy 4,000 people voting for a man named Perkins. What is the country coming to?
He's coming straight up before he goes to town. They're absolutely winning everywhere.
Thank heavens for that.
Oh,
Congratulations, Mr. Dornford.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
Now let's have a big cheer for David Dornford, MP for Conderford. Hip hip.
Thomas Watts, Labour, 12,429. National gain from Labour.
This is something like.
Crushing. I'm sleepy.
you go up to bed, Auntie, and I'll put a slip under your door with the latest news when I come up.
Good night, dear. Well, that puts Perkins in his place, anyway. My dear, tell Dornford the moment he gets into Parliament, he must do something about getting down the income tax. Or I shall be bankrupt before the end of the year, and that would be awful. Where are the cabs?
Good night, Dilly. Tell David how awfully glad I am, dear.
I shan't be long, dear.
You know, I always feel like Lady Macbeth when I go to bed with a candle. Oh, it's a lovely place, but so cold even in summer. Why don't you have some hot water pipes put inside the column? Nobody would notice, and it would make the place so very much more comfortable. Oh, I've got a pain. Oh, I must see my doctor tomorrow. I don't know whether it's flatulence or the hand of God.
Now, Em, you're old enough to know better.
You know, I shan't sleep a wink tonight. I shall have terrible nightmares. Perkins and prosperity.
Good night, darling. I'll send your tea at 10 in the morning.
Moonbeam, here. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed.
Wait here. I'll only be a minute. Dinny!
Congratulations.
Splendid news, David. It's the same everywhere. The National Party is sweeping the country. We shall have 500 seats at this rate.
Marvelous. Must you go up tonight? Can't you stay?
Oh, I'm sorry, I must go now. I'll be back tomorrow. I just wanted to thank you for all you've done for me. And you, Claire, and Dinny. Oh, you've worked like Trojans.
I'm sorry it's over. So's Claire. David, do you want a secretary? Claire wants a job.
Dinny, how could you?
I say, do you really? I do need someone badly.
Oh, Dinny's a fool to say that.
She can type, speak French and German, be nice to people, and rude to people.
Tony, I've got a job. Yes. I'm secretary to David Dawnford, our new member. I'm going to stay with my Uncle Lawrence in Mount Street till I find rooms for myself. I'll phone you from there. No, you mustn't call. You mustn't.
I've got a perfect reason for calling. I met your uncle here in the club last night. He's put me in touch with a job. A training stable near Oxford. I think I ought to call and thank him, don't you? Well, all right, tomorrow night at 6. Oh, is Sir Lawrence Mont at home?
No, sir. Lady Mont is in, sir.
I'm afraid I don't know Lady Mont. I wonder if I could see Lady Colin for a moment.
If you give me your name, sir. Mr. James Bernard Crewe.
Oh, you better tell her Mr. Tony Crewe.
Very well, sir. If you'll wait in here for a moment, sir. Oh, here is Lady Colin, sir.
Tony, what punctuality. Come up and meet my aunt.
Darling.
Shh, not so loud.
Here's an old shipmate, Aunt Em. He's come to see Uncle Lawrence, Mr. Croom. My aunt, Lady Mont.
Ah, ships, of course. How do you do?
How do you do?
Tell me all about Ceylon, Mr. Craven.
Croom, Auntie. Tony Croom. You better call him Tony. It isn't his name, but everybody does.
Did you know her out there, Mr. Tony?
No, we only met on the ship.
Lawrence and I used to sleep on deck, but that was in the naughty 90s. That reminds me.
Now, Tony, behave.
Oh, but surely that's what you went out for.
Well, Aunt Em's extraordinarily kind. I'm not going to abuse her kindness.
Oh, but Claire, you don't know what...
Oh, yes, I do. You sit down. Now, listen, Tony. I've had enough of this love business to last me for a long time. If we're going to be pals, it's got to be platonic.
Oh, but that sounds awful.
It's got to be, or else we're simply not going to see each other. You want to help me, don't you? There's a lot of time. Someday, perhaps.
Very well. Anything as long as I can see you.
Tony, if I hadn't been married, you'd have waited cheerfully and it wouldn't have hurt you. Think of me like that.
Who could?
I see. I'm not Blossom anymore.
Oh, don't, Claire. I'll do anything you want. And if I'm not always as cheerful as a bird, well, you'll have to forgive me, that's all.
Good. Well, I found rooms. It's a queer little hole. Used to be an antique shop in an old mews.
Sounds fine. When can I come first?
Tomorrow evening, if you like. It's number 2 Milton Mews, say 6:30.
Splendid.
Only remember, Tony, no bother. Life is real, life is earnest. Now you must go. I'll come down with you and see if my uncle's come back.
Claire, what's happening about Ceylon?
Nothing so far.
That can't possibly last. Have you thought things out?
Thinking won't help. Quite possibly he'll do nothing.
I can't bear to think of her being...
Come along.
I don't think I'll wait and see her uncle. Don't bother to come down, Claire. Tomorrow, 6:30.
Goodbye.
Yes, my dear.
Tony Croom is here to see you.
Oh, that pleasant young man without a job, you know?
He wanted to thank you.
Not very much, I'm afraid. I put him in touch with Jack Muscombe, who's opening a training stable. Hope it'll come off. He looks a keen youngster.
Sir Gerald Corbin has called, Sir Lawrence. I put him in the little room and said I would see if Lady Corbin was in.
Are you in, Claire? Just a minute, Law. Come back when I ring. Now, my dear.
He must have taken the next boat. Uncle, I don't want to see him.
I'll see him for you, if you tell me what to say.
Thanks, Uncle, but I don't see why you should do my dirty work.
Well, I'll be handy in case you want me. Good luck, my dear.
Sir Gerald Corbin, my lady.
Funny announcing a husband to a wife.
You were very sudden, my dear.
What do you want?
You?
You can't have me.
Don't be absurd.
Leave me alone or I'll ring. Stand over there and I'll talk to you. Otherwise, you must go.
Oh, well, if you want to be ridiculous.
Do you think I would have run away from you if I hadn't meant it?
You have my apology. I give you my word against anything of the sort ever happening again.
How good of you.
Why, some women like rough handling.
You're a brute.
Now, look here, Claire. It's no good being silly. You must come back. You can fix your own terms.
And trust you to keep them? That's not my idea of life, thanks. I'm only 24, you know.
I see. I noticed a young man leaving as I came in.
Well?
You've got the misfortune to be my wife.
So I was thinking.
I have an official position to keep up, and I can't play about.
That's your misfortune.
I'm not a humbug. I'm not trading on my position, on the sanctity of marriage and that stuff. But the government service still pays attention to that sort of thing, and I can't afford to let you divorce me.
I didn't expect it.
You want me to divorce you?
You've no reason.
So you say. Naturally.
And mean.
So you're going to live with your people, eh?
No, I've got a job.
Oh?
I'm secretary to our new member of parliament.
Oh, Claire, you'll soon get sick of that. Why, it's all ridiculous.
There are some things that can't be done to me, and you've done them.
Well, I won't stand for another man having you. Did you hear me?
Yes,
And I mean it, too.
I can see that.
You're a stony little devil.
I wish I had been.
Well, I'm not going back without you. I'm staying at the Bristol. Oh, now, be sensible, there's a darling, and come to me there. I'll be ever so nice to you.
Can't you understand? You've killed all the feeling that I ever had for you. I'll never come back.
And I say you will. Au revoir.
Uncle Lawrence, what is the law of divorce now?
Well, never had much truck with it myself. I think it's not so old-fashioned as it used to be. Here we are. If a husband seeks divorce, it is sufficient for him to prove the wife's adultery, in which case he may obtain damages from the adulterer.
Then if I want him to divorce me, I've got to be unfaithful.
Yes, I'm afraid that's the elegant way of putting it. In the best circles, the man does the dirty work.
Yes, but he won't. He wants me back, and he has to consider his position. And I have to think of the family honor.
It might be worthwhile to keep an eye on him.
It's rather degrading. Besides, I don't want to hurt his career.
How would it be if I saw him and tried to arrange for you both to go your own ways?
It'd be lovely of you, Uncle, only...
All right. You leave it to me, Claire. In the meantime, young men without jobs, are they wise?
Oh, that's all right, Uncle.
in a way. Still, it's nice and quiet and convenient for the new job of work. Oh, mind the walls. They're not dry yet.
Oh.
Jenny, this is Tony Cruz.
Hello.
Oh, hello. I saw you waiting on the key. I say, how do you think this ceiling would look painted blue?
Make the room look smaller than ever.
Oh, you couldn't possibly make it look any smaller. Where on earth do you sleep, Claire?
On that couch. It's very luxurious. And I have a bath dressing room next door with a geyser and a what-you-call-it.
What about painting the bathroom blue?
No.
Pink, then.
No.
Right, if I butler and salon in 5 different colors. White walls, blue ceiling, green doors, and a red fireplace. You never saw anything like it. Anyway, I'll bring some blue distemper in the morning and just do a little bit.
On the condition that you wipe it off again. So long, Tony.
Goodbye, Claire. Cafe Martin, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Goodbye, Miss Terrell.
Goodbye. Well, darling, how are you?
Bodily fine. Mentally rather worried. I told you Jerry had come over.
Does he know about this place?
Not so far. You and Aunt Em and Tony are the only people who know. He's bound to find out if he wants to.
Tell me, Claire, how do you stand with Tony Cruz?
So long as he behaves, I like to see him. That's all.
Mother and Father are nervous, darling.
Yeah, they would be.
Naturally, don't you think? If it were known that Tony came here, it'd be all that Jerry would need in a court of law.
If I start looking at things from a jury's point of view, I might as well be dead. Don't worry, darling. Tony knows how I feel about things.
Is he in love with you?
Yes.
Are you in love with him?
I'll tell you, I like him quite a lot. Beyond that, I've no feeling at present. Do you mind if I change, dear? I'm going to have dinner with Tony at a grubby little restaurant. This living on next to nothing is rather fun.
Claire, it's Jerry.
Jerry? Well, I won't see him and I'm due at 8.
Shall I go? He must have seen you were in.
Oh, take him away with you, Denny.
I'll try.
Oh, do, dear, be sweet of you. How on earth did he find out? Now it's going to be persecution, I suppose.
All right, Claire. I won't go away without him. Who is it?
Hello, Denny.
Oh, it's you.
Is Claire in?
Yes, but she can't see anyone.
You mean she won't see me?
Well, if you like to put it that way.
Oh, very well. Another day will do. What are you doing?
I'm going to Mount Street. Can I drop you anywhere?
I'll come with you if I may.
I do.
Lovely afternoon. Let's go through the park, shall we?
All right.
Claire's been giving me bad marks, I suppose.
We won't discuss it, please. Whatever she feels, I do too.
If Claire comes back to me, she won't even remember what happened in 2 years' time.
You mean by that time you'll be involved with someone else?
What I want you to understand is that I'm two men. One, and the one that matters, has his work to do and means to do it. And the other man, well, the less said about him, the better. You see, I'm honest. Or shameless, if you like that word better.
Where exactly does love come in?
It doesn't. Marriage is made up of two things, mutual interest and desire. Desire fades with the years, mutual interest gets stronger, that's all.
Then marriage is a mixture of business and pleasure.
I like your bluntness, but seriously, Denny.
It's all right. I understand. Good night.
All right, good night. Won't you shake hands, Denny? That's better. Cheer up.
That's all for today.
Can I go home now?
Yes. Don't forget we're both dining with Aunt Em tonight, 8 o'clock prompt. You know what she is.
I shall be there. And how do you like the job, Lady Colin?
Oh, fine.
Not tired of it?
Good heavens, no. Do I look it?
No. I'd be helpless without you already. I'll walk along.
Oh, no, don't. It's 7 o'clock. You've got to change. I must rush for it, too. So long.
So long, Claire.
Hello, my dear. Sorry you couldn't see me when I called yesterday.
I can't now, either.
Are you sure? Are you quite sure? Off to you, my dear.
No.
Oh, come on now, don't be silly.
I've rung up Claire's rooms. There's no answer.
She left me over an hour ago.
What's for dinner, Blaw?
Capon, my lady. A particularly fine bird.
don't let us insult him. Let us eat him while he's hot. I'm certainly not going to wait. Sit down. You here, David. Dinner. Hope you've got something nice to go with the Capon Blanc.
It's time we got hold of these antiquated marriage laws and scrapped the lot. They were all right in Queen Victoria's time, but such ideas are positively ridiculous today.
If I had my way, I wouldn't let a man marry a girl unless they could both prove they had no individuality at all.
That's not the point. The point is that the police can make rules, clergymen can write to the newspapers, judges can express themselves as they like. But human nature will find its own way about, as it did when I was cutting my wisdom teeth.
Auntie, would you excuse me? I must go and find out what's happened to Claire. Will you get me a taxi, Blore?
Shall I come with you?
Oh, thanks, David. I'd rather go alone.
I've never known Claire do a thing like this. She must have had an accident. Where are you going, Dinny?
I'm going to Claire's rooms.
Wait a minute, please. To the Bristol Hotel, please.
Could you tell me if Sir Gerald Corbin's in the hotel?
No, madam. He went out some time ago.
Have you any idea when he'll be back?
No, madam. He left no messages.
Thank you. Taxi. Back to Mont Street, please.
You know you owe me £50 from last night.
Oh, do I?
Where did you find her?
I couldn't get into her rooms, and he wasn't in his hotel.
She's out with that Tony.
I don't think so. Auntie, I'm afraid she's in trouble.
Kidnapped or locked up. You remember that case when I was young, Thompson or Watson? A great fuss. But husbands are not allowed to do that sort of thing nowadays.
Hello, Dinny. Was it you who came before?
Yes, were you in?
Sorry, I couldn't let you in. Come on. Yes, Jerry's been here. He's only been gone 10 minutes.
Darling.
I was a fool to let him in. I'll take good care it doesn't happen again.
Would you like me to stay?
No, it's all right. Have a cup of tea. I just made it.
I'll say you had a bad headache.
2 lumps?
Thanks. Jerry. Let's go round the back way and hide.
What's the good? He'll wait till he sees me. Well?
I'll leave it to you, sir.
Well, we've been going into this, Claire, and Jerry admits that you have much on your side. But he's given me his word that he won't offend again. The old ideas of marriage may be gone, but after all, you both took certain vows.
The old ideas about vows have changed, too.
Yes, but what's going to happen to you both? You can't get a divorce. There's your name and his position. If you live apart, it isn't fair to you or to him.
Fairer to both of us than living together.
Oh, so you say, but we've both had more experience than you.
I knew that would come sooner or later.
Well, you know, dear, I only want what's best for you.
And Jerry's persuaded you what's best. Well, it's the worst. I'm not going, Dad, and that's an end of it.
Very well, then. I'll make other arrangements. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye, Claire.
heaven I could understand this business.
Did he tell you he used his riding whip on me?
What?
Yes.
On you?
Yes. It's just the finishing touch.
Oh.
I'm sorry to hurt you, Dad.
Bounder. And he told me he spent the evening with her the other day. That isn't true, is it?
He practically forced his way in.
Swine.
Well, Jerry's gone back to Ceylon. He sailed this morning. He's not the sort of man to let it hurt for long.
That's one thing in his favor, he doesn't hang about. I don't see how either of you are the better off for his going.
I'm never going back to him.
Never's a long time. And that Mr. Croom. I know you've got principles, Claire, but you're too pretty.
That's sweet of you, Aunt Em, but really I know what I'm about.
I promised my father not to marry for a year. 7 months, and then your uncle. There's always someone.
Well, I promised not to run wild for a year. I ought to know my own mind by then. If I don't, I can't have one.
The trouble is, one's mind has nothing to do with it, but cross your heart.
I'll cross where it ought to be.
Mr. Tony Croom on the telephone, milady.
There, you see? Oh, why did I ever start this tiresome thing?
I've got a job, Claire. Yes. Oh, it's fine to do a bit of work again. I've been fixing up the boxes for some new mares we're taking over. Look here, Claire. I'm coming up to London tomorrow for the weekend. What's that? You crossed your heart? All right, I've crossed mine. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Dinner and a picture. Fine.
Six.
End of the rainbow trail, words to describe it fail, more like a fairy tale, just heaven on earth, feeling your tender caress is heaven on earth.
Do you mind feeding here?
That is suitable, I think.
Table for 2, please.
Is that table in the corner free?
Certainly, sir.
A la carte.
Well, there's Arab blood in every English thoroughbred horse, but it mostly dates from generations back. Well, Muscombe's idea is to bring over half a dozen first-class Arab mares and see what happens.
Rump steak, chip potatoes, and cauliflower.
I'll tell you what. Why not come down tomorrow and have a look at the place? Let's have a real Sunday outing. Tea at Oxford and back by 10 o'clock.
I promised to go home, really.
Oh, ring up and put it off. We may not get another chance for weeks.
Sounds perfect to me. Will you call at the Mews?
Say 2 o'clock?
Better make it 1:30.
Grand.
Hello. Is that you? This is Bert. 2:30 outside Melton Mews. They're going into the country and then Oxford for tea. What? Difficult? No. couple of babes in the wood. Mr. C entered Lady Colvin's rooms 10:15 p.m. Left same 11:40 p.m. Said, "Good night, darling." Morning, George.
Morning, Bert.
He's just gone in. Nice day for a run in the country. Got something to eat with you?
Oh, I'll get something when they get theirs. Where are they going?
Bedlock Hythe, where the fellow's got a job. That's what I reckon from what he said. In Oxford for tea, and Becky here by 10. Here they go. So long, George. Keep your eyes open and see me in the morning.
So long, Bert.
Tony.
Oh, she's an easy old thing. She's only 5 years old. I always think she might blow up, but she never does. Here's where I live. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Not wise, my dear. After you show me the paddocks, we better get on to where you're not known.
Oh, but aren't you going to see the horse boxes?
I'll wait till the Arab mares arrive. There's a difference in you bringing me to see the boxes and my coming to see the mares. Oxford's really a marvelous place. You get a sort of romantic feeling in an old town like this. I think I should have enjoyed the past. Palfreys, buff jerkins, you know?
You'd have looked fine on a palfrey. In a hat with an enormous green feather and one of those collars. Still, the present's good enough for me. This is the longest time we've spent together without a break.
Now, Tony, don't start getting sentimental.
I'm not.
Come on, we must move.
Sleepy?
Not really. I can drive if you'd like a rest.
Rest? Gracious, no. I was only thinking that every mile takes me that much away from you. Oh, this must be Nettleford. Nothing between here and Henley now. And then it's 35 miles. There, the lights have gone. Lights are out. I can see that, you darn fool. We're off the road.
An adventure, my dear.
Well, this wood goes on for a mile or two.
Is there anything at all before Henley?
Nothing I remember. Besides, you can't recharge a battery just anywhere.
Let's leave the car and walk. It'll be all right.
But what should we do then? I must be back by daylight. I tell you what. I'll walk to a hotel, borrow a torch, and come back for the car.
Can't walk 10 miles. Let's both stay here. I've always wanted to try spending a night in a car.
You trust me?
Don't be old-fashioned, Tony. It's the best thing and rather fun. If we go on, we'll only get smashed up by another car. Pull her further in among the trees. Stop! We're up against a tree now.
Here's the road. Nobody can see us from here. I'll try stopping a car if you like.
Oh, it'll only mean a lot of fuss. I'm very comfy here.
Thank heaven for that. Would you like me to put the side curtains up?
Oh, I don't think so. It's very mild.
Do you mind my pipe?
Of course I don't. Give me a cigarette.
is almost perfect.
Almost.
I should love to see Aunt Em's face now. You're warm.
Sure. Are you?
Lovely.
Tony, forgive me, won't you? I did promise.
It's quite all right. Take your hat off, Claire. Whenever you like, here's my shoulder.
Don't let me snore.
You snore.
Everyone does on occasions. This will be one of them.
If you don't mind, I will put my head on your shoulder, Tony. Getting light, Tony.
Heavens, have I been asleep?
Yes, poor dear. I've had a perfect night. Stiff in the legs.
4:30. Oh, pins and needles.
Let's get out and stretch.
So it's over.
Was it so very terrible?
Morning, George.
Morning, Bert.
Have a good day? Babes in the wood, I call them. Go blimey.
I want to show you a job in the garage.
Excuse me, sir. Are you Mr. James Bernard Croom?
Yes?
I'm instructed to give you this, sir.
In the High Court of Justice, Probate, Divorce, and Admiralty Division, in the matter of the petition of Sir Gerald Corbin.
Good day, sir. Lady Corbin?
Yes?
Excuse me, I have this for you.
In the High Court of Justice, Probate, Divorce, and Admiralty Division, in the matter of the petition of Sir Gerald Corbin. Thank you. So you've had one too?
Yes,
Pleasant little document.
darling.
My dear, you look frozen. Come up and have some brandy.
It's no good talking about what we ought to have done. Let's talk about what we're going to do.
They must have thought we were a couple of fools. I never dreamt they were watching us.
I didn't either. But why shouldn't we have done exactly what we've done? There's no law against innocence.
Heaven knows it's what I want to get you free of him. If only you felt for me what I feel for you. Oh, it's all my fault for letting you run the risk.
It's not your fault. There's no good talking about our feelings. The point is we're innocent. What are we going to do about it?
I shall do whatever you want.
To think if we defend and win, you'll still be tied to him.
That your petitioner claims from the said James Bernard Croom as damages in respect of the said adultery the sum of £2,000. If we don't defend and win, you'll be ruined, Tony.
You'd better let me have the truth, Claire.
That isn't the truth. We've done nothing.
Who is this man?
Tony Croom. I met him on the boat. He's 26. He was on a tea plantation that went bust. And Uncle Lawrence has found him a job.
You she has.
He hasn't any money. I brought him down here to see you.
Are you in love with him?
I like him.
And you say there's been nothing between you?
He's kissed me 3 times. Cheek twice, hand once, that's all. He's waiting in the drawing room. Will you see him, Dad?
I'd better see him alone. Sit down, Mr. Croom.
Thank you.
I'm not going to beat about the bush. You seem to have got my daughter into a mess.
Yes, sir.
Kindly give me an account of it.
Whatever she's told you is true, sir.
Very correct, Mr. Croom, but not what I want. She's given me her version. I'd like to hear yours.
I'm in love with her, sir. I have been ever since I first met her. We've been going about rather in London, theatres, cinemas. I've been back to her rooms 5 times altogether.
What do they mean by you spent the night of the 3rd with her?
I drove her down to see the place where I'm working. On the way back, my lights failed. I expect she told you.
Yes.
It was pitch black. I hadn't got a torch, so... Well, we waited in the car until it was light. Whether you believe me or not, sir, I swear to you there was nothing between us that night. There never has been. I'm awfully sorry about this. But I'm not sorry I'm in love with Claire.
I think we'd better go right into the court. Here we are, my dear.
Colin versus Colin and Croom, husband's petition.
If your lordship pleases. In the middle of September last year, while the petitioner was up country in discharge of official duty, the respondent, without a word of warning, left her home and sailed for England. On board the ship was a correspondent. These 2 young people were always together on the ship. On one occasion, the correspondent was seen coming out of the respondent's stateroom. I will not dwell upon the details of the watch kept upon their movements shortly after their arrival in England. You will have these from expert witnesses. Sir Gerald Corbin.
Take the oath.
I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
You thought it your duty to institute these proceedings?
Yes.
This claim for damages, not very usual nowadays among men of honor.
I shall settle them on my wife.
Would it surprise you to hear that she would not take a penny from you?
Nothing would surprise me.
It did not even surprise you that she left you?
Yes, that did surprise me.
What would you say was the reason your wife left you?
My wife can best answer that.
Now, sir, you are on oath. Did you or did you not ill-treat your wife in any way?
I admit one incident, and I've apologized for it.
What was that incident? My lord, I submit my learned friend is not entitled to ask that question.
My lord, I must stop you, Mr. Forsyth.
I bow to your lordship's ruling. When did you first know of the existence of Mr. Croom?
Last May. He was coming out of a house where my wife was staying.
What made you pitch on him as a possible means of securing a divorce from your wife?
What I heard on the ship that took me back to Ceylon. The same ship in which my wife and the correspondent returned to England.
What made you so suspicious?
I was told that he'd been seen coming out of my wife's stateroom.
You've traveled by sea a good deal, I suppose?
A great deal.
And have you noticed people frequently go to each other's staterooms?
Yes, quite a lot.
Does it always arouse your suspicions?
No.
May I go further and suggest that it never did before?
You may not.
I suggest that you had ill-treated your wife and wish to be free of an association that hurt your pride.
My lord, I object.
But, my lord, the petitioner having admitted...
Yes, but most husbands have done something for which they've been glad to apologize.
As your lordship pleases. I suggest that you practically forced her to leave you and then took the earliest opportunity to ensure that she shouldn't come back.
No.
You wish to suggest that although you instituted these proceedings on the first gossip you heard, and although you've added a claim of damages against the man you've never even spoken to, in spite of this, you are a forbearing husband whose only desire was that his wife should come back to him?
I wish to suggest nothing to the jury.
Very well.
Imagine that horrible man peering into the car at us when we were asleep. Of course my head was on Tony's shoulder. Why not? You try sleeping in a two-seater. I can't bear that filthy suggestion in court that your opponent's always mean and malicious and a liar.
It's a sort of game. Both sides play according to the same rules, and the judge is there to discount exaggerations.
There's no other way of getting to the bottom of the case.
It makes one wonder if anything's ever really quite clean.
They don't think anything ever is.
Now tell me all about the judge, Dinny. Did he have a long nose? And did he look like a tortoise?
No, but he sat very low in his chair and kept shooting his neck out.
Why?
I didn't ask him, dear.
What a pity. Go and have a long bath, Claire. Little nap. Dinner in bed with a hot water bottle. Then you'll be nice and fresh for the judge in the morning. I suppose it'll all be in the papers tomorrow.
Bound to be. Jerry's a public man.
Not her address, I hope. And what about the young man?
Ah, yes, I'm sorry for Tony.
What a lovely line for the papers tomorrow. Night in a car.
If it please your lordship and members of the jury, the answer to the allegation of misconduct between the respondent and co-respondent will be a simple and complete denial. I call the respondent.
Take the oath.
I swear by Almighty God to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Is it true, Lady Colin, that you've been unfaithful to your husband?
It is not.
You swear that?
I do.
There have been no love passages between you and Mr. Croom?
None.
Before you answer my next question, I want you to consider that very much depends on that answer. Why did you leave your husband?
I left because I didn't feel that I could remain and keep my self-respect.
But you can tell me why that was. You had done nothing that you were ashamed of.
No.
But your husband has admitted that he had, and had apologized.
Yes.
What had he done?
It is against my wish to talk about my married life.
I understood you to say that you could not remain with your husband and keep your self-respect.
Yes, my lord.
Did you feel that you could leave him like that and keep your self-respect?
Yes, my lord.
I don't think you can usefully pursue the point, Miss Forsyth. The respondent has evidently made up her mind on it.
If your lordship pleases. Once more, Lady Corvin, there is no truth in these allegations of misconduct with Mr. Croom.
No truth whatever.
Thank you.
Lady Colin, you, a married woman, wouldn't call inviting a young man to your cabin, entertaining him alone in your room at 11:30 midnight, spending a night with him in a car, and going about with him continually during the absence of your husband, misconduct?
Not in itself.
You have said that until you saw him on the ship, you had never met the correspondent. How was it that from, I think, the second day at sea, you were so thick with him?
I was not thick with him at first.
Always together, weren't you?
Often, not always.
Ceylon is not a large place from a society point of view.
It's not.
Lots of polo matches and other functions where you're continually meeting people.
Yes.
And yet you never met Mr. Croom.
I've said I never did. If you ask me till tomorrow, I shall say the same.
I'm suggesting that you did not meet as strangers on the boat.
You may suggest what you like, but we did.
So you say. You heard the stewardess give evidence. Was that the only time the correspondent came to your stateroom?
The only time he came for more than half a minute.
Oh, he came at other times then.
Once or twice to borrow a book.
On the occasion when he came and spent, what was it, half an hour there?
Oh, 20 minutes, I should say.
20 minutes. What were you doing?
He was showing me photographs.
Do you mean to say that nothing else whatever took place between you during those 20 minutes?
Nothing that could give you satisfaction.
How were you dressed?
I'm sorry to have to inform you that I was fully dressed.
My lord, may I ask to be protected from these sarcasms?
Answer the question simply, please.
Yes, my lord.
I suggest you were more than friends before you left the ship.
We were not, and we never have been.
When did you first see the correspondent after leaving the ship?
About a week later, near my home at Conderford.
What were you doing?
I was in a car.
Alone?
Yes, I'd been canvassing for the election.
And the correspondent?
He was in a car, too.
Sprang up, I suppose, quite naturally.
My lord, I asked to be protected from these sarcasms.
Sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, Mr. Bruff.
What was he doing on this country road, 50 miles from London?
He had come to see me.
Perhaps you can tell us the exact words you used.
I could not. But I remember that he asked if he might kiss me.
And you let him?
Yes.
You think that is proper conduct for a married woman?
Perhaps not, but after I left my husband, I didn't regard myself as a married woman.
Oh. And what did you do after he had kissed you?
Went home to tea.
Feeling none the worse?
Better, if anything.
Are you speaking seriously?
Yes, my lord. Even when they are not in love, women are grateful for being loved.
Now, go on, Mr. Bruff.
Now, when you were driving back from Oxford on the night of July the 3rd, you have said that your car lights went out about 10:30, 4 miles or so short of Henley, in a wood.
Yes.
Was that an accident?
Of course.
Did you examine the battery?
No, I don't understand batteries in cars.
Did you know how or when it was last charged?
If you're suggesting that Mr. Croom tampered with the battery...
Just answer my question, please.
I am answering. Mr. Croom wouldn't play a dirty trick.
It was a dark night.
Yes.
And a large wood.
Yes.
Just the spot one would choose.
Choose?
You weren't designed to spend a night in a car.
Possibly, if one had designed.
I think you said it was your suggestion to pass the night in the car.
I did.
After Mr. Croom had proposed walking to Henley.
Yes.
Did he seem rather keen on it?
Not particularly.
You didn't press it?
No.
Did you think he meant it?
Of course he did.
You had not passed the night with him before?
Of course I hadn't.
You use the expression, of course, rather freely and with little reason. You had plenty of opportunities of passing a night with him, on the ship, in your room, when there was nobody there but yourself.
Plenty. And I did not avail myself of them.
Doesn't it seem rather singular that you suggested it on this occasion?
No. I thought it would be rather fun.
Fun? Yet you knew this young man was passionately in love with you.
I regretted it afterwards. It was not fair to him.
He had beautiful manners, hadn't he, this young man who was in love with you?
Yes, I have thought since that he had.
You knew then that he must have, if your story is true. But is it true, Lady Colin? Isn't it entirely fantastic?
It may be fantastic, but it's entirely true. Everything that I've said in this box is true.
And then in the morning you woke up, as if nothing had happened, and said, now we can go home and have breakfast.
Yes.
Tell me, Lady Colin, why did you defend this action?
Because however appearances were against us, we had done nothing.
On that night in the car, you were on a main road. What was there to prevent you from stopping another car, asking for a lift into Henley?
I don't think we thought of it, my lord. I did suggest following one, but they went by too quickly.
Ah. In any case, what was there to prevent you from walking into Henley, as Mr. Croom suggested, leaving the car in the wood?
Nothing, I suppose, really. Only it would have been midnight before we got to Henley, and it seemed more awkward than just staying in the car. And I've always wanted to try sleeping in the car.
Ah. And do you still want to?
No, my lord, it's overrated.
I'll break for a lunch, Mr. Bruff.
I like the judge much better than the jury. Oh, Denny, I feel so tired. That perpetual suggestion that one's lying infuriates me so that I could scream.
That's what he does it for. Don't gratify him.
Poor Tony. I feel such a beast for having mixed him up in it.
And talk without him saying it, you mean?
Now, Mr. Bruff.
My lord, before resuming the cross-examination of the respondent, I desire to recall the petitioner. It has been suggested that he intended securing a divorce from the moment of his wife's departure. He has additional evidence to give in regard to that point.
Very well, Mr. Bruff.
You have told us, Sir Gerald, that the last occasion but one upon which you saw your wife before you returned to Ceylon was at her rooms at Melton Mews.
Yes.
On that occasion, besides any conversation that took place between you, what else occurred?
My wife and I were reunited.
You mean that the marital relationship between you was re-established?
Yes, my lord.
Ah.
Thank you, Sir Gerald. That's all I wanted to ask.
Why did you not say that when you were first examined?
I did not see its importance until after your cross-examination.
Do you swear that you've not invented it?
I most certainly do.
Now, Lady Corbin, will you go back to the box, please? You heard that piece of evidence, Lady Corbin.
Yes?
Is it true?
I don't wish to answer.
Why?
My lord, when my counsel asked me about my married life, I refused to go into it. And I don't wish to go into it now.
The question arises out of the evidence. You must answer it. Ask the question again, Mr. Bruff.
Oh, I beg your pardon, my lord, I didn't hear you.
I said, ask the question again, Mr. Bruff. Did you hear me?
Yes, my lord. Is it true that on the occasion of which your husband has just spoken, marital relationship was re-established between you?
No, it's not true.
You swear that?
Yes.
So your husband has gone out of his way to commit perjury?
It's his word against mine.
And I think I know which will be taken. Isn't it true that you have made this answer in order to spare the feelings of the correspondent?
It is not.
Very well. I've no more to ask.
James Bernard Croom. Take the oath.
I swear by Almighty God to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Your name is James Bernard Croom. You are in charge of a horse breeding establishment at Bablock Hythe. Have you any private means?
None whatever.
Did you ever meet the respondent in Ceylon?
Never.
You met her first on the boat?
Yes.
You made no secret of the fact that you fell in love with her?
None.
In spite of that, is there any truth in these allegations of misconduct between you?
None whatever.
If these allegations of misconduct were true, you would be in the position of a man who had betrayed a husband's confidence. What would you have to say to that?
If Lady Colin had felt for me what I feel for her, I should have written at once to her husband to tell him the state of things.
But she did not feel for you what you felt for her.
I'm sorry to say no.
So that no occasion to inform the husband ever arose?
No.
Thank you.
According to the stories you both tell, you were pursuing in the absence of her husband a married woman who didn't want you to pursue her. Not a very honorable position yours, was it?
I suppose not.
I suggest that in spite of what you said, she did want you to pursue her.
She didn't.
You say that in face of her invitation to her cabin, in face of her invitation to her rooms?
Yes, I do.
If what you both say is true, she gave you the very devil, I beg your pardon, my lord, in the car, didn't she? Was that considerate of her?
When a person is not in love, I don't think they quite realize the feelings of one who is.
Tell me, did you sleep at all that night in the car when her head was on your shoulder?
Yes.
Considering your feelings, wasn't that singular?
I was up at 5 that morning. I'd driven 250 miles.
Do you seriously expect us to believe that you took no advantage but just went to sleep?
I took no advantage, but I don't expect to be believed.
I don't wonder. I suggest you've done everything you can for this lady. That your attitude has been one of distorted chivalry.
No.
Very well, that's all.
Let's go out. There are more people than ever.
You can always find an audience to watch suffering.
The whole thing makes me sick. Forsyth's made a mess of the case with that suggestion of Corbin wanting to divorce her. They never would have brought Corbin back to the box without that. How do you think it's going, dear? I can't stand much more.
They finished with Tony.
Then it's nearly over.
And in regard to the correspondent, you must remember that there is in this country a traditional belief that a man who has involved a married woman must not, in vulgar parlance, give her away. You must ask yourselves how far you can trust this young man as a truthful witness. And now, members of the jury, I send you to your task. The issues are grave for the future of these people. I am sure I can trust you to give them your best attention.
Well, I think as I did right through. I don't like a fellow's face. I reckon he'd done something to her that didn't come out.
We've got to judge on the evidence, not on what didn't come out.
They never said what the photographs were. She showed him in her cabin.
What's that got to do with it?
Everything and nothing.
It's the night in the car that I'm thinking about. I don't believe that any young man could have behaved himself with a girl like that.
Well?
The juror's returning.
Do you find the respondent guilty of adultery with the correspondent?
Yes, my lord.
Do you find the correspondent guilty of adultery with the respondent?
Yes, my lord.
Well, Denny?
Lost. No damages, only the costs.
Oh, I've been a fool, and that's the end of it. I shall clear out.
Don't do anything for a bit, Tony. Nothing silly or hasty. Promise? I brought a message for you from Claire. She wants you to dine with her at 7. You'll be coming home for a while?
Quite soon. Tomorrow, probably. When you're divorced and you don't defend, you keep thinking of better answers when it's too late. Did you give my message to Tony? Poor Tony.
Not dear Tony.
If you like. Dear Tony. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye.
Melton Muse, please. Well, Tony, you look ill.
You look fine. I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted to go out.
I don't. We're going to dine in. You can stay as long as you like now, nobody the worse. Nice, isn't it?
Claire.
Put on your hat and come upstairs. I made a new cocktail and I'm going to try it on you. In spite of the law's blessing, we'd better pull the curtain. Do you want to wash? Well, funny business, wasn't it? Wasn't any of it very nice, was it? You feeling all right? Poor Tony.
I want to tell you how bitterly sorry I am.
Oh, don't be an idiot, Tony. Anyway, it's all over. Come and sit down. It's only a cold meal, so there hasn't been time to cook. I bought those last night and got everything ready this morning. I knew last night that we shouldn't win. Chicken, Tony? And some ham?
With all that was happening, you could think of this. These flowers. This wine.
Why not? We can't starve. Come on, Tony. You'll feel better in no time. We can stay as long as you like, without anyone sneaking around in doorways watching us. I couldn't bear to see you in the witness box, Tony. I owe you a lot.
Oh. You owe me nothing. It's I.
No. I'm the debtor. Why so far away, Tony? I pay my debts.
Debts? Claire. May I come in for a minute?
Only a minute?
Well, I thought maybe that would be longer than you'd want to see me.
Come upstairs. You don't know how sorry I was this morning that I sent you away last night.
You don't know how sorry I was that I took it like that, but...
I know. You don't have to tell me. I'll tell you. You love me as a woman wants to be loved, and I treated it as though you didn't. But you know why? I'd had all the tenderness killed in me by that little episode in love in Ceylon. I think I've been a little cracked on the subject of love and marriage and all that sort of thing. You're staring a very vague sort of stare, Tony. I don't wonder. This is an apology and a confession, too.
I came to apologize, too, and explain.
But I've come to myself. This is the confession part. I don't like eating my breakfast alone. And I think I can appreciate the way you love me, Tony. I do this morning. With Colin out of my life and the divorce business done, loathsome as it was, it seems to have cleared my heart and I can feel again. I can feel lonely for you, Tony, and ashamed for myself last night. And I'd like to be in love with you, my dear. If you still like me, that is.
Like you? All right, we'll call it that. There's too much said about love anyway. But if I've got to like you for the rest of my life, darling, you better give me some breakfast.